Hello and welcome to the couch. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Kosi,
And I'm Chris.
and this is the Real Couch Guides podcast. And this episode was sponsored by Donald Glover's water bottle because, I'm gonna sell it on eBay, get a lot of money off of it. He'll never know.
I didn't know you had that, but
Well, it stays here with us and our viewers, so
there you
just
go.
know.
We won't
You
let
see it
him.
on eBay.
We won't let him know.
Yeah.
If you're new to this, we are your one-stop shop for movie reviews, news, and all things cinema. So this is how the show breaks down, y'all. We spend the first half covering the biggest news stories of the week in the world of movies and entertainment.
Then we go into our movie reviews of this week's newest releases. But first, let's kick things off as we always do with this week's box office roundup. Take it away, Chris.
Alrighty, so this is your box office roundup for March 18th through the 24th.
All right.
Coming in at number one, no surprise here, we have The Batman.
Still trucking along.
Still trucking along with a solid $311 million domestically.
Dude, how much has it made worldwide then? Because obviously it's gonna get a sequel, right?
Well, yeah, of course, but worldwide. Let's look this up real quick. International.
Yeah, because I think it's definitely made almost as much as Justice League, that last full DC team of Justice League. I think it's made more than Birds of Prey. I think it's made it's made more than a lot of movies in this pandemic era, like so far, which
Wow.
is amazing to think.
So-
not just in DC.
Oh, so get this. Internationally, we're looking at 598 million.
Wow.
Yeah, that is really solid. I mean, obviously, Spider-Man: No Way Home, if you're paying attention, it's just crossed at over 800 million domestically. That's not even including the international box office. So, I mean, not that anyone expected the Batman to catch up to Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but still, this is a really impressive run for the Batman so far. So we'll see where it ends up.
So that means it has some kind of repeat viewing to some extent.
Yeah.
Good to see.
Yeah, no, it's
That's
fantastic.
great.
So coming in at number two, we have an anime, which I'm always happy to see. Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, the
okay.
movie, coming in with 17 million. Very good for
All
them.
right.
That's awesome.
Anime.
Coming in at number three, we have Uncharted with 128 million.
Whoa, it's still up here. Okay.
Yeah, it's still up there. I bet Sony's pretty happy with
Yeah.
that one. So coming in at number four, we have X, which we talked about last week.
Love that movie.
Nice little horror flick, coming in at 6 million. And then finally, Dog, rounding out your top five with 55 million.
Channing Tatum, man. Like, I guess we'll see Channing Tatum in the box office again next week with Lost City. Obviously, I think it's foregone conclusion. It's going to topple the Batman next week. Lost
Oh,
City.
yes. Well, I mean,
I
as
assume so.
as we're recording this right now, I believe it had a 30 million opening, and it has in fact beat the Batman,
Good for them.
which is fine. I mean, the Batman's in like its third week. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
super
we'll
happy for them.
talk about Lost City a little bit here, but yeah, it's good to
Right.
hear from them.
So, I mean, hey, with that box office roundabout the way, let's hop straight into our movie news for the week. Coming in with the first one, Coast, do you want to take this or shall I?
Sure. Now I'll take this one. Let's see here. Hey, are you a fan of Voltron?
I am a fan of Voltron.
Well, see, I was more of a Power Rangers kid growing up, but Voltron is I always thought it's like the old school boomer version of Power Rangers. I know it sounds blasphemous, but I was never really that into Voltron. But I might be changing my tune because according to Deadline, a Voltron live action movie will be coming to us from the director of Skyscraper and the newest Red Notice movie, Rawson Marshall Thurber. Deadline reports that a live action feature adaptation of Voltron will be co-written and directed by Thurber. And it's also sparked a bidding war amongst studios and streamers, so everyone's after this. Initially, Thurber and Ellen Shanman penned the script, which is actually based on Ellen's initial story. Tom Lieberman and David Hoperman will produce the film alongside Bob Koplar, whose company World Events Production also controls the rights to Voltron. Warner Brothers, Universal, and Amazon are all in heavy competition to land this package through Netflix, which is home to Red Notice, and the 2016 animated series Voltron, the Legendary Defender. So, Cousin Chris, what do you think about both this bidding war and just the idea of having a live-action Voltron coming straight to Netflix?
Well, first off, I'm thrilled to see a Voltron movie. I think it's like a really interesting IP. I mean, obviously, I grew up playing with Power Rangers more so than the Voltron toys, but like I still used to catch that cartoon when it would come on like Cartoon Network and stuff. It was really cool. But I think one of the more interesting aspects of this story is that last bit you read that Netflix, which is currently to home to the director, what's his name, Rawson Thurber. Yeah, Rawson Marshall Thurber's to his Red Notice film, as well as the home for the 2016 animated Voltron series. Both of those are on Netflix, but Netflix is not currently competing they're not in the running to land this deal for the live action movie.
From what I remember, I think Netflix makes this movie. They are the maker of this movie, and then Warner Brothers, Universal, Amazon are trying to distribute this. From what I'm understanding,
I don't know. We'll need to double check on that, but it looks like Netflix, they're not actually involved with the making of this. This is a separate project that's being done by Rawson and Thurber, and even though like he has previous projects with Netflix, and even though Netflix has the animated series, Netflix is not competing for this movie.
So it's not even like connected to the animated series in any way.
No, it's definitely not connected to the animated series. Well, so that's a little strange.
A little strange, but I don't mind. I think this way we get a cool fresh start on the movies.
Right.
I think something along. I'm hoping this is something along the lines of a Pacific Rim, not Pacific Rim Uprising, but more so the first Pacific Rim. I think Guillermo del Toro did just a great job of combining the massive scale of the Jaegers and just the horrifyingly massive scale of the kaiju they fought, and also had a sense of just danger but also fun. And again, not really that used to Voltron, but I'm used to Power Rangers. In Power Rangers, there's definitely a really good balance of goofiness and fun, but also like hard-hitting action. So I'm hoping that like in a live action sense that Thurber, because Thurber, I haven't really been like a huge fan of his work. He did Skyscraper, he did Central Intelligence, both with Dwayne Johnson, now Brent Notice.
A lot of his films, he's so.
They're not. The one thing you can say is Thurber knows action. He's good at action. The other stuff he's lacking in. So I already trust that he will bring his set piece technique and also just setting up how things move and how things flow into this Voltron live action. So I trust that the action will be good. The rest is so-so. But then again, like what is there? There's not much else to Voltron, is there?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not super deep into the Voltron lore. I saw a few episodes of the cartoon on Netflix. I know that
looked really cool though.
It looked cool, and I know that there was some controversy towards the final season of Voltron. It seems that I believe a different writing team took over. There was some sort of controversy that really upset the fans. They kind of went in a really odd direction with the characters at the last minute, and a lot of fans felt disappointed with the way the animated series ended. And it has a very strong, dedicated fan base, so that's unfortunate.
I've heard.
So I think all the more reason to be excited to see a new studio take a crack at it. Let's see what they come up with, because I'm definitely going to be in there like opening weekend to watch it. Oh yeah, and
this bidding war, it's actually cool to see that there's a bidding war for it.
And that's the crazy thing. I didn't know there was so much interest in this. I mean, I know it's a classic IP. A lot of people have it has a devoted following, but the fact that studios are this interested, wow.
No, it's good. I just, I'm not really been keen on Thurber's work, but hey, I'm going to support him on this. It sounds really cool what they're doing. Definitely has a good story there. Definitely has garnered a lot of interest from these big studios like Warner Brothers and Universal. So I'm going to keep an open mind and just see when this comes out and hope that it finds a home.
And one last thing before we move on from this. Yeah. This is just another great sign of why streaming is so great, because this content like this is getting a chance. Because usually in the olden times, you would have seen studios say, well, hey, that Power Rangers movie didn't do so great. Pacific Rim, that second sequel, that it didn't do so great, so why would I give a chance to Voltron? That's usually how they think. They look at what's the closest comparative property, how did it perform?
Yes.
But here with streamers is like, hey, we need content. And this particular content has a built-in fan base that spans back decades, so let's give it a shot. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think gone are the days are when like a great project will just sit in a studio's vault forever because they just can't find funding. Now, because of streaming, everything, there's a home and there's a avenue for your stuff to get made. So
you got to churn things out. So hey, I'm glad to see it. All right, Coast, what's up next?
All right, looks like we got a Nova movie in development by the Moon Knight writer. Want to talk to us about that?
Oh, this is on me. Yeah, no, I'll take this one. This is coming to us from Deadline. Marvel is developing a Nova project with Moon Knight scribe Sabir Pirzada on board to write. It is unknown for now whether this will be developed as a feature film or a limited series for Disney+. As always, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige will produce. So, Kosi, you're hearing about a Nova project coming from the writers of Moon Knight. How are you feeling about that?
First and foremost, it just makes me more excited for Moon Knight, which comes out in a few days from now.
Right.
This means that obviously Marvel Studios has faith in Moon Knight and has faith in what Pirzada has brought to the writing table. That's a huge
takeaway from this.
Yeah. So and the thing with Nova is like he's kind of obscure. A lot of casual fans don't really know about Nova. Just a quick little recap here. actually, if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, on Xandar they have a fighting force called the Nova Corps. They're essentially like Xandar's police force. And they're more of like a peacekeeping force for good in the universe. And so the way Nova came in, all of the Nova Corps have been wiped out, and leaving Nova as the last remaining person to take the whole hive mind, brain, and power of the Nova Corps to be the lone, Nova warrior. So
sorry, is that what it is? Like they all
Yeah.
get wiped out, and he absorbs all the power from the entire army?
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's kind
Okay.
of like a hive mind, like a super intelligent computer thing that like links together all the past and basically all the past Nova Corps members, and in order to make sure that it continues. So Rich Rider is the one that's imbued with this power. And the cool thing about this is, even going back to Infinity War, there was always like rumors about, oh, will we see Nova? Will he appear? Because in Infinity War at the beginning, we don't see this, but Thanos actually went to Xandar to retrieve the Power Stone, and it's said that he just decimated Xandar. So we might have actually heard about Nova's origin, but it was kind of done off screen. So the fact they're going to come back, Marvel does so well at planting a seed like years earlier, and then coming back later and saying, oh yeah, remember when we planted that seed? Here's like the other side. So I'm really excited just to see what they're going to do with this character. He's unknown. There's not much of like a point of reference besides, I don't know if you played Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh yeah, no, I played that.
He's all up in there. He's cool. Those are like my those are my couple like reference points to the character. But I'm going in fresh, and I love knowing that Marvel's like, I don't know, 30 plus movies in, and we're getting another fresh new character no one's ever heard of.
Yeah,
it doesn't really have a lot of like attachment to. So yeah, I'm really, really excited for this.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like you said earlier. The first piece of news I got out of this is that, wow, they have a lot of faith in the writers of Moon Knight, which shows that we're in for a great series in a few days. So I'm really excited about that. Nova, obviously, I've seen a few cartoons with him in it. I believe Ultimate Spider-Man on like Disney XD. He was a main character there. Yeah. So he was kind of cool. He was kind of like antagonistic towards Spider-Man a little bit. They had like a little bit of a rivalry of back and forth there. So it was kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm excited for the project. I obviously I don't know too much about it. I don't know whether it'll be a movie or a series yet. Do you have a preference between seeing a movie or?
So I think this works best as a movie. And actually, like my pitch, I think I told you my pitch the other day. The movie opens up on Xandar 2018. We see Thanos' decimation from the Nova Corps' perspective. We see just
that's a great point.
We see how brutal Thanos is.
Yeah.
He wipes them all out. We get a cool cameo from Glenn Close to come in to just show that just how hell bent Thanos was on making sure he got the Power Stone, and we even see just the Nova Corps members be cut down to their last ones, and we actually see Rich Rider get a little bit of like a little cameo there to open it up. Just I think that premise has been thrown around a lot over the internet for a long time. I hope Marvel does that to open up the movie. They don't really necessarily have to, but I think the storytelling ground is so rich and fertile for them to go with this character, because they've set so much groundwork within the MCU for where he could just be slid right in.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just really excited for just where this will go. Again, we don't know much about it.
I mean, I feel like based on what you said to me, he's from an alien planet. His powers involve flight and energy
blasting, kind of like Captain Marvel a little bit, but there's more to him than that.
Right. So basically a lot of CGI. So I'm thinking probably you're going to prefer a feature film for that.
Yeah, Netflix. Well, I wouldn't doubt it all the way. Marvel's has made it known they're willing to shell out the money.
That's true. So some of the series do have really good CGI. So,
but I think for the character, I would personally want to see a movie more, especially if you're just introducing this character, and kind of how Marvel does it. When you're getting introduced, you get a movie, and then maybe down the line you'll get a show to like show your further adventures. But I think it's just so cinematic.
Right. And plus, I mean, when you're looking at, the Marvel shows that are out right now, a lot of these characters, they're down to earth, right? Their powers.
They're real street level.
I mean, She-Hulk, she turns green, she has super strength. Moon Knight, we still kind of we're still not sure what his powers are yet. But like,
She-Hulk, you're right about.
It's more down to earth, right? It's a bit more like just fighting. Whereas something with Nova, you don't need a bigger budget. You're going to need something like in space with his flight powers and everything. So, hopefully we get to see a feature film. I actually prefer that too, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, man. What we got next? I think something about King Kong and Godzilla.
Yes, you know what? I'll go ahead and take this one too. This is coming to us from Variety. Legendary Entertainment's sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong will return to film in Australia later this year. Plot details remain unknown, but based on the film's shooting location, it will likely take place in the Hollow Earth location shown in the previous film.
Okay.
So, Kos, are you excited to see Godzilla battle Kong a second time?
Look, you tell me the venue, the date, I'm there. I'm always down to watch those two duke it out. It was one of the things that brought us out back to the movies when the pandemic was kind of when the pandemic hit us in the U.S. It was actually one of the first movies you and I went to go see in the theaters, and it was a great experience just seeing just that whole helicarrier, the whole fight on the helicarrier was just worth price of admission. So to see them have faith in the movie to bring it back for a second time, I'm kind of bummed out we don't have many plot details about it. I would have liked to know a little bit more.
Yeah, because, I mean, are they just going to fight again? Are they going to make up a reason for them to have beef? Or will we just see them team up to fight?
I'm pretty sure I think this round will be kind of like a Batman versus Superman, where, you know, they had their spout in the first movie, and now I think they're going to team up to fight probably something a lot worse. Who knows?
Yeah, because, I mean, if they're going back into the Hollow Earth, there's plenty of monsters in there.
There's plenty of monsters up in there.
There's plenty of beef to be had in there. But as far as them fighting each other again, maybe like a brief scuffle if like their interests don't align at some point in the film. But I can't see it full on being.
But they already had their scuffle. I think
Right.
we're past them fighting. I think what happened in the first one was they fought to a standstill. Obviously the winner was Godzilla, but Godzilla respects Kong as an adversary, so they're not beefing. So I think if they ever met up again, it'll be to, you know, to make sure the Hollow Earth stinks. Whatever the threat will be, it'll probably be a threat to the Hollow Earth. That's where Kong
Right.
resides, you know. So I can see them teaming up. But I think one thing that doesn't get talked about a lot is the fact that movies like this, just these big giant movies, they really do a number on the economy of the country that they're at.
Oh, right. That's a big
yeah.
part of the story, right? Australia is, what is it? They're shelling out quite a bit to help this production.
About $52 million will be going into the Australian economy because this movie is shooting on that Golden Coast. So that's a lot of people getting jobs, a lot of people that are on payroll that, you know, probably had a tough time like finding work. So I'm just real glad that, like, again, we get these giant movies, but don't forget that these giant movies are made by people and crews, and the fact that these movies are in production means that people have work. So I'm always for that part. I think that part gets lost a lot in like the big spectacle each time.
Yeah. I mean, all right, folks, with those three stories out the way, let's hop straight into our movie reviews for this week because we have quite a few to get through.
We have quite a bit. So on Thursday, you went to go see The Outfit.
I did.
So tell me about that, because I wasn't there. So just give me just like your quick breakdown of just what you thought about it and whether or not people should see it or not.
Yeah, I mean, well, spoiler alert, I definitely feel like people should see it because this is a really clever film.
Great.
If you've seen the trailer, The Outfit is always about this tailor. He is kind of in affiliation with the mob. He kind of receives payments and mail for them at the back of his tailor shop. And then one night, the mob boss's son is shot because of basically, everyone in the city is hunting for this tape. And over the course of obtaining the tape, the mob boss's son is shot. He's taken to the tailor shop because he has nowhere to go. And then things unfold. We have a very suspenseful drama that kind of plays out.
Okay.
The entirety of the film is shot within the tailor shop. So we never leave it, and it actually works really well.
Almost kind of like a bottle film.
Right,
bottle
right.
Episode,
it's kind of like something Tarantino would do, right?
Oh, like Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah,
Reservoir
or like a
Dogs
stage play.
Okay.
But it's really well done. And
Cool.
obviously, this is one of those films where you can't say too much. You don't want to give away what's going on.
Right, yeah. And say what you can.
But yeah, the drama alone between these characters, it's worth the cost of admission. Definitely highly recommend, worth checking out.
Cool. So, like, would you say this is like a mystery, like gangster, like crime movie?
Right. So, I mean, it's a crime drama. Do I want to say it's a mystery in the sense that, how can I say this? You don't know how it's going to end. There's definitely that.
It keeps you guessing.
Oh, well, actually, there is one mystery. Over the course of the film, they're trying to identify who one character is. I'm not going to say who, but
right.
yeah, it's a mystery. If you're into mystery, if you're into the high tension scenes, This is the perfect film for you.
Cool. It kind of reminds me a lot of like the Jack Nicholson movie Chinatown, in that it is about the mob. It's also about corruption in San Francisco and a whole like the people that play into this corruption. Would you say it borrows elements from some like a Chinatown, or even like old gangster films like The Godfather?
Oh yeah, no,
Goodfellas?
it definitely borrows from old gangster films because you actually have a rivalry between the two major gangs in the city. That's kind of like the background to this, and so that kind of plays out on screen. I mean, they kind of do it in a clever way because I feel like there are probably some budget constraints with this film. This is a first-time director. This is from Graham Moore that directed this. This is his first film, and you wouldn't be able to tell by watching because this is masterfully done.
Okay.
But whenever it's things that would involve like a lot of the police or gun violence or things like that, it's just told to us because everything happens within the tailor shop. So we don't actually see all that, but that doesn't take away from anything that this film is trying to do because the character interactions, the dialogue, the tension per scene is fantastic. So highly recommend it. If you guys haven't checked it out already, please go give The Outfit a shot.
Real quick, just before we move on, I see here that Dylan O'Brien's in it. I'm a huge fan of Dylan O'Brien.
Yes,
he's Teen Wolf, American Assassin. How is he in this movie?
He actually plays the mob boss's son, and
okay.
At first it kind of took me out of it because he's using this thick, Chicago accent. I mean, but they're the Irish mob. But he's using this like thick Chicago accent. It kind of takes you out of it. Like, okay, I clearly know this is not your natural speaking voice, but his role is great. He's still a highlight of the film. He's kind of I don't know if you remember Sonny from The Godfather. He's like that. He's kind of hard-headed. He's caught up in his own way. Thinks he knows what's best, and we see how that plays out over the course of the film.
Great. So, like, would you say it's worth watching, checking it out?
Oh yeah, no, I mean without a doubt, most definitely go check this out if you can.
All right, y'all. You heard it from Cousin Chris's mouth, man. Go check out The Outfit. It's in theaters right now.
Yeah. So what's up next?
Well, you and I both had a cool little back-to-back double feature this past Friday. We saw both Umma and The Lost City.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like which one do you want to go with first?
Let's go Umma. Let's go Umma first.
All right. So I just have immediate initial thoughts on this. Sandra Oh to me has not made anything a bad project in her entire career, and I would not count Umma as one of her bad projects. I actually enjoyed this movie. It was very creepy. I believe this director. Let me just make sure I got her name right. The director of Umma. So Iris K. Shim. Haven't seen any of her work before. This is like the first movie I've seen her do. She's done like other stuff like the House of Sue. That's like the one. That's like the last movie she's directed. But so this is like her her return to directing. And I really enjoyed how Shim really was able to capture both the culture aspects of growing up with a Korean mother, having a child here in America, having the child having one foot in Korean culture and having another foot in American culture. I love how she was able to really convey that, but also she's able to bring the spooky stuff in when it's time. When it was time to get spooky and creepy, I think the movie was able to deliver. So Umma, it follows a woman named Amanda and her daughter who are living just simple life on they're actually beekeepers, on their beekeeper farm. And Amanda, played by Sandra Oh, receives word that her mother died, and she actually receives the actual remains of her mother in this box and is told, hey, do what you want with it. It's not our problem. She's your mother. So obviously when you get stuff like that in any kind of horror movie, creepy stuff immediately abounds right away. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Had a great atmosphere. I really enjoyed the performance from Sandra Oh. I actually liked the daughter. I don't know the actress the actress that played her daughter, but the actress that played her daughter was actually very strong in the movie as well.
Fievel Stewart. Fievel.
Fievel Stewart. Never seen it before. Great to see Dermot Mulroney back in there. He was the best friend of my best friend's wedding. All you people out there, fun fact. So it was cool to see him. He's playing like an old grizzled dad type now. It's funny. He was once. He still is, still a good-looking guy, but he was like, leading man Hollywood heartthrob. Now he's playing like a grizzled, like father figure type. But I loved it. I loved just where it went. It went to some weird places. That's all I'll say. Not to give away spoilers, but But no, but how about you? How'd you think about Uma? What you think? What did you like, dislike?
Okay,
Would you recommend it?
let me think about this one for a minute because Uma Uma at its core is a second generation immigrant story. It's for
Yes.
people that have parents that came into this country, they tried to establish themselves, and now they're growing up. Those children are growing up, they're trying to raise their kids in America, and they're still haunted a bit by the trauma of what they went through with their parents that just immigrated to this
Great
country.
point.
So Uma, that's the framework, and then the horror aspect is more like just a pretext or framing. So it's a metaphor, right? It's like, oh, I'm haunted by the way my parents raised me, and in the context of this film, we're actually seeing a visual representation of that with
Literally being
ghosts.
haunted by the way that raised
By
her.
her mother, who is in some ways trying to control her from beyond the grave and tell her how to raise her child.
Which was really creepy. Actually.
Right. So it's a metaphor. Oh gosh.
Do you think it worked? Do you think the creepiness worked
that's
for you?
the thing. I feel like if you're a horror fan, I don't know that the horror elements are enough there to satisfy you. And if you're a drama fan or second generation immigrant who's just like, hey, yeah, I want to see like how does this character deal with that trauma from her parents? How does she do that in relation to raising her daughter? I don't know if you'll be satisfied from it either. Because this movie tried to appeal to both. They wanted to appeal to horror fans. They wanted people to appeal to those who are into that drama of the second generation immigrant. I don't know that this film does either of those successfully. I think if it had picked one path and just stuck with it, like if it had just gone pure drama or just gone pure horror, I think it might have ended up being a bit stronger. But the way they tried to mash it together, I feel like we got weak showings from both. So that's my whole thing.
So would you say that this maybe do you think it suffered maybe from false advertising? Because the trailers legit set it up like it was some like Hereditary,
Right.
Get Out type stuff
Right.
with this kind of spin. Do you
So
think?
like, yeah, I think the horror framing of this, I don't think it was probably the best way to go, because at certain points it does get pretty wonky. Like we have
Tell me about it.
we have the what is it? The ghost being able to manipulate the time of day.
And weather.
We have it manipulates weather. It can change
I got a kick out of that,
photos in the home. Some of the things get pretty out there, and it's like if they had grounded the horror a bit more and maybe leaned even more into the jump scares, I don't know, maybe that might have helped it. But what we got presented here, I don't think anyone's missing anything if they skip this one.
Like, look, I'm not like on the same page with you. I think this is actually worth seeing. Is it worth like running out to see like day one? No. It makes a really good matinee, like in the morning, or if you wanna just leave it for the end of the day and see just with an empty theater. I think it's still worth watching, because I think when it tries to be creepy, it really really does, in my opinion, was effective in the creep factor. And there are definitely some shots that really startled me, that really shook me. And I think the idea of of the generational trauma, it's real, which also makes it so scary and believable,
Right.
and so
This
relatable.
is a great concept on paper, by the way. Like just the idea of, oh, I'm haunted by my parents,
and I'm
it-
turning into her in
Right.
a sense. Yeah.
No, that's brilliant on paper. It's just execution here. They needed to step it up a bit. They needed to either commit a bit more to the drama to keep it, I don't know, grounded and more meaningful, or commit more to the horror so that we at least get something out of that. Because what we got, I just
Got you. It left you wanting more.
right.
Gotcha.
On
Well,
both fronts.
If
So-
you ask me, I say see it. Cousin Chris here says skip it if it's not, if you got other stuff better to do on your day. But at the end of the day, it's up to y'all to make your decision. We're just here to tell you what we thought about it. So yeah, that's our review for Uma.
Right. Last one up for today, ladies and gentlemen, The Lost City, which is currently, as we speak, killing it in the box office and surprising everyone.
Look, I had an absolute blast. I just want to say this before we continue. This movie I was laughing from start to finish. Like, we came in late, but I was like laughing even as I was going in my seat, just watching what was going on. So this movie, like from a funny factor, truly delivered. Unlike most movies I've seen in the recent years have done.
Yeah. Look, The Lost City, I think, really surprised everyone where that first trailer
Yes.
came out. It was
Yes.
a shockingly good trailer for what seemed like a silly comedy.
Mm-hmm.
The movie itself, gosh, this is another one where I'm like, they tried to deliver on the romantic comedy aspects of it. They tried to deliver a bit on the action aspects of it. They didn't go heavy into either, so I don't know. But people seem to like it. I mean, for me personally, The humor wasn't killing it for me. This is not going to be like the next Hangover or anything like that. But it was okay. I'm not saying it's a bad film.
Right.
Just for me personally, I got a little romance, got a little humor, got a little action, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna rent this one when it comes out to streaming or rewatch it. You know, it was just like something to do. So if you're bored, sure. For
Right.
me personally,
I know. I think it's great that you mentioned a Hangover, because I think what made the Hangover, especially that first one, work wasn't just the funniness. Yeah, it was hilarious, but it was honestly it was the interaction and the relationship between those guys, from Bradley Cooper to Evan
Right.
Elms, Zach
That's a great point.
Galifianakis. And I believe Lost City definitely had the same thing, because Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock honestly have great chemistry.
no, that's so true. That's
They
what a
carry
lot
that
of
movie.
reviewers have been repeating this. That yeah, they have great chemistry on screen, and it does show. That's fair.
Yeah, so like for me, that's what kept me so engaged, and that's where like a lot of the funniness came from. The fact that, like, you know, we have it was, you know, it's a fish out of water story. We have a woman and a man here that, you know, aren't basically both out of their elements, but have to like work together to get out of a situation when they're stuck in the jungle. So I love it's a tried and true method. You know, we've seen it with Romancing the Stone. We've seen it with 6 Days, 7 Nights. It's been done. But I think the fact that they're able to take that formula and have, like, it shows you can have a generic formula, but as long as you have two leads that have great chemistry, it can work. And I think it worked. Love Daniel Radcliffe, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, Daniel Radcliffe
he
was
plays the villain.
great as a villain. And
I loved
Brad
him.
Pitt as well. His limited role, that was really good.
Brad
So-
Pitt was awesome.
No, there were some stand-up performances in this. I think this is definitely one where if you enjoy the characters early on, well, then you're gonna enjoy this film.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know about you, but I saw a few parallels to Uncharted, and I think in some ways this kind of sort of did the whole globe-trotting, let's find the thing on the map thing a little bit better than
Really
Uncharted
better
did,
than
actually.
Uncharted. That's funny.
Like not to like go back, not to harp on Uncharted too much, but I think the whole treasure aspect of it, I think worked for me. It didn't feel convoluted, and it didn't feel like, oh, how does this get there? No, it actually made sense, you know. In Lost City.
No, you actually, that's a brilliant point because what is it? What was I going to say? It's a lot simpler than the stuff going on in Uncharted.
That's what it was. It was simpler.
They were trying to do too much there with the crosses and connecting them and using them as keys here and there, and like, oh, some landmarks have moved and they're blended into modern society. There was too much going on. It didn't always work. With Lost City, it's very straightforward. We have a main character who, in college, she studied archaeology. She studied this language that's being tracked in the film, and she just uses it to say, hey, where is this location in this city we're in? Yeah. You know, in this jungle that we're in.
Yeah,
so,
she actually writes those romantic novels that you see in your mom's library all the time. She writes those, and Channing Tatum plays the guy, the Fabio character that is on them. I think it was really brilliant to take.
It's actually it's fantastic because they kind of delve into that. Like, she's actually a very intelligent character. She has this background in archaeology, but because she couldn't sell that work, right, she goes into writing romance novels. Yeah. But she still has that background knowledge, and it comes in a great way into the film. Because, I mean, the trailer gives you the impression like, oh, Daniel Radcliffe's character is just crazy. He read this book and believes it's real. But, like, no. Well, actually, she included real things in her book because she has an archaeology background.
It turns out to be real.
So I like that kind of attention to detail there. That was actually really cool. Like, it makes sense, though, about why he would want to kidnap her and take her to this island and help her find the treasure and all that. So
exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, those aspects of the film work great. The film overall... It's okay. I mean, if you want something to watch one weekend, sure, why not? But
would it be something that you'd like rush out to see, like opening day, or
I don't think so.
Or it's better to watch it on streaming?
Unless you're bored. Yeah, this is more of a streamer to me.
Gotcha.
I would say.
Would you watch a sequel to this?
Ooh,
because they definitely left some room open for a sequel if they wanted to do a sequel.
Did Oh man,
everything gets a sequel nowadays. So
right, and especially with how this is performing right now, it'll probably get that sequel.
Yeah,
I would need to see a trailer. Like, if they have a pretty solid premise for this one, maybe I'll give these characters a shot because I do like the characters, you know. But like these kinds of comedies, not particularly for me. They're not like super laugh out loud hilarious.
What's one thing that would you have wanted if this were like funnier? Do you think it would have like worked better for you?
Well,
I was
yeah,
laughing.
mean,
I was laughing like start to
definitely.
finish. But comedy's
'Cause,
kind of subjective. But
yeah, because the humor it was hit or miss for me. Not to say that it's bad. It was just like, okay, yeah, I guess that was supposed to be funny. Whatever.
gotcha.
So it it does everything competently. It doesn't particularly stand out though.
Mm, I see.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely a see it for me. It's possibly skip it from Cousin Chris. But yeah, that is our review of Lost City. It is also in theaters right now. You can catch The Outfit, Umma, and Lost City in any of your local movie theaters right now. And those are our reviews on it.
Oh, I think that's the end of the show.
That is-
Shockingly.
No way.
Yeah. All right.
Wait, hey, real quick, do you want to fit in Atlanta? 'Cause I know you just saw Atlanta today.
Oh, we did just see those first two episodes.
Dude, yeah, let's just fit that in real quick. Like, why
Oh
not?
gosh. Okay.
So-
Well, especially that first episode because I
well,
feel
yeah,
like
we have to.
the second episode, I'm not as I haven't seen the first
Right. The
Right.
first
two seasons.
2 seasons, yeah.
Yeah, but that first episode, they kind of went with a more anthology approach with that first episode, where it just tells the story of a young African
Yeah,
American
and
boy.
please provide me and the listeners some backstory into like what that is.
Oh, I gotta pull that up.
Well,
So basically, episode 1 adapts a true story about there were these two women, Caucasian. They were lesbian. They were very progressive. They ended up adopting 6 African American children. And while through their social media accounts, they tried to paint the picture of this perfect family who was very woke and very aware of social issues such as race and discrimination, police brutality. In reality, they were abusing these children. They were
Jeez.
often underfeeding them, depriving them of meals whenever they would misbehave, or at least in their eyes, they felt the children were misbehaving. But they were clearly dealing with some other psychological issues. And then, unfortunately, in 2018, they drove this family of theirs towards the Grand Canyon and right off of a cliff.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And
All
I
right.
need to double check if it was the Grand Canyon, but basically off of a cliff. All of them were killed. One person's body, I believe the child's name was Devonte. I think he was a teenager at the time. His body was never found, but his 5 adoptive siblings and the 2 women in question were killed. And so this episode 1 of Atlanta kind of adapts this story.
Yeah, Donald and Stephen Glover saw the opportunity not only to make us laugh, but to make us think by framing an episode around that true event, which I did not know.
Is
Watching
a true event. Yeah,
It felt so
really
real.
happened.
It was to the point where it was uncomfortable to watch at points because, I think the what struck me so much is that the episode, like the inciting incident, a child named Laquarius, he acts up in class. He decides to dance because he's so excited. His class is getting to see the new Black Panther movie in theaters. He gets excited, dances. His mom is brought to school. One thing leads to another, and CPS is called, and Laquarius is taken away from his home and put into the home of a progressive lesbian couple who have 3 other black children like him already adopted in his home, and that's where it turned into a horror movie from right there.
Right.
Straight up horror film. There, nothing was really funny. It was more shocking and uncomfortable. What did you think?
Well, I mean, there was some fantastic social commentary there about
my gosh, so
basically
Scathing.
the woke society, right? And people who are doing things for, they believe that they're being progressive and they're doing things for social clout.
They're not on your side all the time.
But in reality, they have these deep internal biases and they're not as, what do I want to say? They're still dishing out microaggressions
Yeah,
to
they're not your
other
ally.
races.
Yeah.
You know, they're still making racist jokes when it suits them. And so all this allyship that they are professing online is, in fact, hollow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think what's cool is that, sorry to cut you off, but what's great about the writing by Stephen Glover, who's the brother of Donald Glover, showrunner of the show, is that they're able to take such heinous things, such crazy situations,
right, terrible story.
and they're able to find these morsels of comedy, like straight comedy. There was one scene where Aquarius is there and he's being told, "Hey, get ready for dinner," that they're making fried chicken. And you in the audience and Aquarius were like, "Nice, that's
Fried
normalcy,
chicken?
fried chicken."
Okay.
Until we find out how the fried chicken's made, which is simply made by leaving chicken in flour
Right.
and placing it in the microwave for 12 minutes.
It's just-
Not 15 because that's too long.
Right.
You want to make it 12, and so
Raw chicken in a microwave for 15 minutes.
And he
I mean,
has to
'cause 12
keep
minutes
going.
is covered in flour. So,
yeah. it's stuff like that where it's both horrifying but also played obviously for big laughs, which I appreciated. But I have to admit, sometimes it did feel. I kept saying this feels too real, like it happened,
and
it
as
did.
it should, right? Because these are true events.
That's
And
amazing.
so, well, yeah, no, I think obviously I'm not as familiar with all of Atlanta. I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes, but this episode is making me want to like just binge the whole show because
Yeah.
this was so brilliantly written. I love the commentary that was within it. So I mean, if you haven't checked out Atlanta, I think you should.
Yeah, it's really on brand. On brand for Atlanta. Atlanta is when even Donald Glover was talking about the show back in 2015. He kind of described it as like Twin Peaks meets like his life living in Atlanta. So definitely a lot of real stuff, but also it's definitely a lot of surreal things that happen in the show. And even though this stuff felt surreal in the sense of what the character in the show is going through, it still had roots in real life. So we're able to both laugh, but also talk about and have discussions about like what we saw
Right.
in Atlanta, and that's just great to have to be able to have both. Sometimes you can't have both. A lot of entertainment, but Donald and Stephen Glover show us that you can definitely have both. So I'm so happy that it's back. It's been four long years since we've had new episodes. We're getting season 3 right now, and then Donald Glover did say that the series will be ending with season 4, which comes out at the end of this year as well. So we're gonna be getting season 4 to complete the whole series this year. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm glad you're able to see this.
I'm
this first episode.
Glad too. No, it was really
Yeah.
good. It surprised me.
This is great. Well, guys, that about wraps up our this week's episode of Real Couch Guys podcast. Hey, cousin Chris, thanks so much. I know that
Thank
this
you,
is a
man.
jam-packed episode. Thanks
Yeah.
for just coming in and talking about movies. So once again, guys, we thank you very much for joining us. And no matter what your opinions are on movies, love them or hate them, just know there's always room on this couch. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.
See you next week.